and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in beautiful San Clemente. We're so glad you're here with us this morning, here in the sanctuary, out there in Video Land. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we'd like you to join us on our first sing-along song. Please rise. This is a brand new one, an Eddie Watkins Jr. song. We have fabulous Allendale to lead us along. Don't worry, it's brand new. You'll get it. There's some echoes to get you started, and here we go.
Look at the person next to you. Say, recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
Come together.
We come together in the name of love.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves me and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together in the name of love.
From every walk of life,
Every walk of life,
every creed and color,
every creed or color,
the kinship we unite. Honor of the God in each other. Look at the person next to you. Say, namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
we come together,
We come together.
we come together,
We come together.
we come together in the name of love.
We come together.
We come together,
We come together.
we come together,
We come together.
we come together in the name of love, in the name of love, in the name of love. Good job.
We always like to do new things. It stretches our minds. Thank you for that. That was wonderful. I love new songs. That was fun. Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Capistrano Valley in San Clemente. I'm delighted that you are here this morning for this wonderful service. My name is Judy Chapman. I am the assistant minister here, and welcome home, everyone. This morning we're going to start our service, surprise, surprise, with the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence that we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and the practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and the path of peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as our practitioner, Mary Casa, lights that last candle, please let it represent the path that brought you to this service this morning.
Thank you, and good morning. Before we pray, I want to tell you, this morning I was reading Science of Mind magazine, and the theme this month is the body. And so I got up, I go, well, I better go paddle. I'm going to go use my body this morning. And that's where I go meditate and talk to God. And I was getting out of my car, and I put my keys in the wheel well, and I hit my hand, and I go, it hurt. And so I kissed it. I go, all better. It's going to be better. I kissed it like 3 times. Someone saw me. I go, it's better, it's better. And he smiled. And I thought, you know what? That is what we do. We kiss the parts, and it gets better. We kiss the parts of ourselves, and it gets better. When we love ourselves, it feels better. I don't know why that works, but it does. That was my first introduction to metaphysics before I even knew it. So, here, thank you for coming today and bringing your bodies here. And I want you to, let's take a breath together. Breathe in love. And kiss the parts that are not love. Let go. Let's breathe in love. And as we center, I know there's power. There's an infinite intelligence. There is an infinity. It's an infinite power. Always there, always present, ever present, omnipotent. This omnipotent power is everywhere at every point in the universe. It is in the ocean. The vastness of the ocean and the sky. And this power, ever present, is God. It is love. It is the source. It is the thing itself. I know this power is within me. I know I have access to this power of good, of love, of light, of joy, of harmony, peace, and most of all, love. And I know that as I connect with this power, as the vastness of the ocean, I am a drop in the ocean, and the ocean is a drop in me. And I know that this is true for all the qualities of God. As we access this power, I know it is in with me and within you, right here, right now. And I know this good, this God, this presence is love, and it emanates in our body. It runs through us. It emanates from us. As we access this power in the light of God, the love of God, clears the path. It makes crooked lines straight. And as I feel this energy run through our bodies here today, loving all the parts of us, parts of our bodies that want to talk to us. And we say we love them, and it gets better. Parts of our mind, we love it, it gets better. We see something outside of ourselves. When we extend love, it heals itself, just as the sun and the rain make the grass grow. I know this is truth. I know that this power is ever present in healing. I know that love heals all. That is a quality of God that we can have within us, that we take with us, and we let our light shine as we embrace all the love that is here today and bring it out into the world. And I'm so grateful that we have the ability to do that, and that God works through us in that way. And we are the lights that we walk into the world, and we bring love and healing and joy, harmony, peace. And I am so grateful that we have that right here, right now. And I release this word into the law, knowing it is so. And together we say, and so it is. We have an affirmative prayer. And today's affirmation, let's say it together. My body is a house of the divine on earth, and so it is. And let's say our global vision together. Our global vision for the world that works for all, where all life is honored and expressions of the divine, where people live according to spiritual truth, where humanity awakens to its spiritual magnificence, where personal creative power, where we live as one global family, where kinship with all life prospers, where unity and connection is emphasized, where forgiveness is the norm, where spiritual guidance is valued, where communities are meaningful, involved in service to the world, where resources are valued, cared for, and shared, where people have enough food, homes, and a sense of belonging, and where there is peace, harmony, and justice for all.
Thank you, Mary. And now, please welcome to our platform our very favorite performers, Allendale.
Well, with today's topic called Welcome to the Temple, we didn't really have a song for this. So Rick wrote one. And so, you know, his beautiful talent is going to be debuted right here, right now with our fabulous band. So welcome to the temple.
It's fresh out of the oven.
Yes.
The butter isn't even melted yet. Welcome to the rest of your life. The doors are open to what you want to find. You occupy the peace of your mind. And welcome to the image of love. Open the door, there will always be enough to show the way, to get you where you came from. Welcome to the temple. Where you stand is the Holy of Holies. God keeps it simple, welcomes us all into the highest form. Well, welcome to your vehicle. It will get you where you wish to go. When you arrive, you will know. Welcome to the latest sensation. It's transitory, just like the setting sun. But you will rise to every occasion. Welcome to the temple. Where you stand is the holy of holies. God keeps it simple. Welcomes us all to the highest form. Welcome all. Your body is the temple. It's your mind. Your body is the temple. Come inside to the highest form. Come inside into the highest form. Come inside to the highest form.
Oh my, such incredible talent. Just welcome to the temple. He just writes the song like that. I mean, oh my gosh. Let's give him another hand. Thank you so much. It was beautiful. And our beautiful band, David Page, Lou Savage, and Ed Cusby, and our wonderful choir director and music director, Diane King Van. Thank you so much. We are so blessed to have such wonderful, talented people here at our center. And you too, and you too. Okay, so, yearly theme, Living Everyday Wonder. And the month of June, the body. And today, welcome to the temple, and Reverend Bruce Fredenberg, who is one of our staff ministers, will be telling us all about this. Please welcome Reverend Bruce.
Good morning. You know, every time I present here and have to follow Diane and the Vanettes or Rick and Karen, I just want to say what they said and then go back and sit down and have a good time. But I agreed to do more than that, so. Should have done this before, but obviously I did not. But I forgive myself. But gravity doesn't. Okay. Actually, when I was asked to speak here this week, I wasn't sure what I wanted to talk about because although they had a theme for me, it was right before the shootings in Texas, right after the shootings in Buffalo, and right before the ones that happened after that. And I was, taken aback, and some of you may be as well. And I just wanted to acknowledge that. There's a lot of pain in our country right now. And one of the things they teach us when we're very young, we all learn it in grade school, it's how to hide our pain. Kids out in the playground, somebody says, "How are you?" And they say, "Fine." "How are you?" "Fine." "How are you?" "Fine." And some kid tells a story of a bad home life. And you can see everybody kind of step back from that person, and everybody gets the message. What should you be saying when I ask you, "How are you?" "Fine." Because if you're not fine, and then you hear all these other people say fine because they got the message too, they know there's a risk to telling people that we're not fine. And so a lot of people are in pain for a lot of reasons and don't share it with others. And that can be okay because some people need that time to reset themselves and move forward. And so I was thinking about all that, and then I went back in and looked at the outline for the theme this week, and I thought, the most useful thing we can do is start with ourselves. There's an old saying, I'm sure you've all heard it, if you have peace in the family, there's peace in the home. Peace in the home means peace in the village. Peace in the village means peace in the nation. Peace in the nation means peace in the world. And so it all starts with ourselves. So the body is the one thing in this world which is completely and intimately ours. We're the only ones who really know what our body's experiencing. We think we know what other people's are, but we have to extrapolate, imagine from our own experience. And as it was pointed out in the outline, our bodies are magnificent and magical conduits between God and our individual consciousness. It's a way of God expressing itself. And our body is a wonderful way to do that. For certain experiences, I don't know why the creator, animator of the universe does everything, but I have a hint on why things might be and how they work. And so in a physical universe created by one source, to have this experiences of learning that can only be happening in a physical world, need a physical body. And so our bodies ought to be celebrated for the way they allow us to experience the world in which we live. So there's only one body, and that's Spirit's body. And our body is a reflection of an individualized idea of that, and all bodies are good bodies. Not that we've all been taught to think that about ourselves. Has anybody ever criticized their body? If not aloud, at least to yourself. Yet they offer a direct and clear path to the divine experience. And there's going to be different bodies, just like there are different types of trees. You wouldn't look at a willow tree and say, that would have made a better fern. No, you're going to appreciate it for that. Or, breeds of dogs. When you see dog shows, they don't say, gee, I wish the German Shepherds were a little more curly haired. You judge, but they do things that other dogs can't do, and all the other dogs do too. So we see that all around us, and yet we put these constraints on ourselves like there's only one way to be. And so most of us have likely grown up with social messaging that our bodies are not acceptable the way they are. And this is for the guys out there. Women get that message in our culture way more than guys do. We get that message. But we get other messages that we're supposed to feel shame about. And it turns out in every culture, shame is gender specific and culture specific. Like, if you're a woman, raise your hand when you were really brokenhearted that you didn't get picked for the football team. Or when the 19-year-old in the 4th grade came over and attempted to rearrange your teeth and didn't ask permission. But as a guy, we learn to feel shame about that, but women learn to feel shame about, well, you get billboards all over the place. And so whatever the fashion of the day is, because actually Miss America of 1924 wouldn't have made the cut in 1958, and the one in 1958 would be looked at as overweight in 1978, and then, it just goes on from there. And so women now, if you look at TV shows like Alias and other things, not only are women supposed to look young forever, but they have to be able to kick your ass too, because they've all studied Kung Fu, right? That's a lot of demands. Okay, so for one reason or another, we get these messages that our bodies are, well, if you're like me and Judy, too tall, or as I like to call sensibly sized people, but the rest of everybody else is too tall, too short, too fat, too black, too white, too brown, too something else, and we all suffer from the twos, right? And so we may have an ideal image of how our body could look. When we tell our body that it's not acceptable right now, that's not a very good message, because it's been determined now that every cell in our body is listening to every word we think and following the instructions. So if we could learn to love our bodies as they are, we can open ourselves up to an opportunity to heal these wounds. Problem is, as Holmes has told us many times, I'll back off for a second. We live in an ocean of thought. And for simplicity's sake, let's say that the mind is divided into a couple of different parts. One is the one that chooses what to do. The other is the thing that actually does it. Now, it's all one, but just for simplicity. And so it just follows these instructions. So if it's getting instructions that you're defective in some way, and translate that into shame and feeling bad, well, we all know what bad people deserve. What do bad people deserve? Nothing, except a little punishment, right? And maybe a lot of guilt. And if we're guilty, boy, then we really deserve. Anybody get that experience in life? Anybody? Am I the only one who got those messages that, maybe I wasn't fully acceptable? Let's put it that way. Sometimes I'll make jokes, and some people will act like, "Why do you say that?" And I feel like, go 5th grade all over again. Inappropriate. But anybody else had that experience, Rick? Or Clark, wherever you are. Okay. So this part of us that actually creates things is responsive to all of our thoughts. It doesn't get to choose what thoughts to have. It just follows orders. It's, like when you type something into Google or DuckDuckGo, if you're smart, and you write in more abundance, and you misspelled it, and it thinks you're going to a barn dance. Well, it doesn't correct that for you. It just takes you to the barn dance, right? So, that's how. Well, think of it that way. So every cell in our body is listening. In fact, there's a book out there, our book for the month. I hadn't realized it was a book for the month when I chose it, but there's a psychiatrist out of Boston, and I forget whether he's from Boston University or Harvard. I am familiar with his work. And his book is The Body Keeps the Score. And so when we tell ourselves our bodies is defective, based on the fashion of the day, 1924, 1958, today, all those cells are listening. And so, whatever your embodiment is of what you're supposed to be isn't probably that precise. You're supposed to be the way you are. And anyways, our bodies are wonderful, magnificent things, and they provide us with all kinds of great experiences. There's taste, there's colors, there's shapes, there's forms, there's sensations, there's all this good stuff. Legs are really good. It's like if I don't like what you're telling me, I could get mad, or I could say, hey, I got legs. I don't have to hear this. Anybody do that, or you tend to get sucked into legs are good. You can get away. You don't have to listen to this if you don't want to, but there's guards at the door, so don't leave. Well, not really. Not in case somebody's here for the first time. See, I'm being punished already. Well, inappropriate, that's what it was. Okay, so pain that we don't really acknowledge and don't push away, and a lot of our thoughts are unconscious, as Holmes has said that a lot. We don't always know what our thoughts are, but when we start to uncover them, we can make changes. But, so instead of beating ourselves up for doing this to ourselves, oh, there I go again, calling myself names or hating myself, how bad I am, that'll fix it, right? I really saw this in action one time. I had a client. And I never talk about clients unless they give me permission, but then I disguise them so you'd never know who this person is. But I just don't want you to think I'm just randomly exposing people's lives. I had a client that she was sent to me because she had a mysterious illness. It was likely Epstein-Barr disease that some of you may have heard of. Just one of those mysterious ailments that stays with people for a long time. And as I got to know her, I found that she got to do a lot of her work from home. And what she really liked about that was that she got to spend more time with her family. Now, her job she was one of those people with very high clearances and security stuff, and was involved in each day or every few days revising the navigation codes to send nuclear weapons to major cities in the world and kill everybody there. Well, that's what they do, right? They don't say, well, that's a good person, that's a bad person, we'll just kill them all, right? And so they really, but this is a very smart woman. And I remember one time I was on a ski lift, and I was beside an electrical engineer from Stanford. And he was involved in medical studies, but he said, for electrical engineers, one of the most intriguing problems is solving how to get an object from point A to point B. And he said the problem is most engineers don't study any humanities or social sciences courses, so it never occurs to them to wonder what does it mean for the people at point B when they solve that problem. Well, it means a lot. They're gone. And so she'd figured that out already, and so she was in conflict with herself. She really loved her job, and she really loved her family, and she knew if her job was ever implemented, her family would be gone. And so her body, at least it seemed to me, and we had conversations about that, and she started to think about it herself, and she felt that was what was going on. And she was starting to improve, but then she left because she didn't want to leave her job because she liked the other stuff about it. And so I don't know what happened later on. But when I had that experience about 35 years ago, I thought, wow, that's really, it really made sense to me. And I'd done a lot of study on that. We just know a lot more about it now than I did 35 years ago. But it was a really nice example. It was so clear, it just jumped out at me, when we were talking. So, the pain that people don't want to talk about oftentimes gets stuck in the body. And if it gets stuck in a part of the brain that doesn't have access to the part of the brain that can resolve it, then it just keeps coming up and repeating it. Every time that memory is brought out and remembered, it sets off that same sense of doom and awfulness. Now, there are treatments for that, too. I bring that up because there are actually good treatments if you know anybody who's had trauma like that. The best treatment I would recommend is EMDR. So find somebody who does EMDR, you can all look it up. It's been proven to be effective in some studies with as high as 77% with combat victims. So you ought to be able to handle, because we all have things that were major in our life, but we're okay. I mean, okay, maybe not okay, but we resolved it, it doesn't bother us anymore. Anybody got those things? And then there's something else, maybe happened back in the 6th grade or the 8th grade or the 2nd grade, that's not that big a deal, but yet still, when you think of it, it gives a wince or a feeling of embarrassment. Anybody got those? Well, why did the big one get healed and not this one? Well, apparently, if the brain's process of resolving the trauma doesn't complete, it just gets stuck there. And then a lot of times, if it's severe enough, it will actually get stuck in the nervous system too, so that when people remember it, they feel the sounds and the sights and the smells, and that's post-traumatic stress. And if you can, with EMDR, you can sort of kickstart that part of the brain that got interrupted, and in most cases, you can resolve it in less than 10 sessions, and I've had them resolve less than that. So again, that's just a useful thing to do, because I like to offer some practical advice if you know anybody who's in those situations. How many people were criticized by anybody for wearing a mask during COVID? Did anybody get criticized by anybody? Okay, well, I think that it's safe to say it's not anti-spiritual to tend to the needs of the body, including the use of medications. In fact, as Ernest Holmes reminded us, since we cannot walk on water, we take a boat or an aspirin. And to me, this includes wearing clothes when I'm cold, wearing shoes when I need to protect my feet, and wearing a mask when I think I'm not going to feel comfortable in a situation where I feel I might be vulnerable. So if I beat myself up for being bad, of not being able to defend my body without aid, that's not going to support my ability to feel healthy. That's just going to support my ability to feel defective and wrong. Does that make sense? And so I like that idea. I can't walk on water. I'll take a boat. So, I asked this earlier, but again, have you ever compared your body to another body and thought your body should be something other than it is? Anybody ever had that? Some people tell me that happens as they get, dare I say, older? But why should that be true? Rather than compare it to another or to disparage it, what if we each loved our body for being the unique and wonderful thing that it is? And what can we do about that? Well, consider this. There is a universal intelligence that fills and permeates the entire universe. An ocean of mind, as I mentioned, and we're submerged inside and outside. And this creative power that I mentioned is always operating, and it responds to our predominant beliefs. Not so much our hopes, but our beliefs. There's a saying in, I think, corporate America that which is believed gets done, everything else is just lip service. Does that make sense? I mean, how many times people in corporations will hear this team, rah, we're going to do all this stuff today, and everybody rolls their eyes because they know what really goes on around there, right? What gets believed gets done. Everything else is just lip service. So, to understand this, I would invite you to consider that there is both conscious intelligence and unconscious intelligence. Like, for instance, the molecules that make up this table here, this device, they never fall, they know to keep this. I don't know how they do it, but there is an intelligence, because if everything in the universe is really made out of the same things in different arrangements, I mean, there's only, so many things that have been identified, and, if you take H2O, you get water. If you take H, maybe one H or three H and add O, you get something else. But it's always whatever it is, and then it knows how to hold together. That's unconscious intelligence. Conscious intelligence is where you actually have volition and can decide if you want to keep on doing that. I don't think this table has any real thought as to whether or not it should hold this or not. It's just subject to the physical laws, and it does it. But we are blessed to be self-conscious expressions of the One. And over time, as we've evolved and become more aware of that, that puts us at choice. And that's a good thing, too, because if everything in your life that's going wrong, if I was to tell you, hey, I found out why it's happening, it's the Martians, well, that'd be bad news, because I don't even know how to find the Martians, let alone how to get them to stop, right? But if I'm doing it myself, now that's the only person in the world I can really control, right? And the only body I can control is my own. And I am the only thinker in my own mind. So, imagine again, for simplicity, that there's this invisible to us, not invisible, but invisible to us and our senses, an unlimited power that can create anything, but it's unable to choose what to create. It just follows the instructions of the unconscious or conscious mind. And then it only becomes conscious when we pay attention and notice it. I'll give you an example. Anybody here ever driven to the store in a vehicle that you're not accustomed to driving, like your spouse or your partner's car? Anybody ever done that? Like they got a black car, you got a red car, and you come out of the market and you're looking for your black car, and you walk right by the red one, wondering hey dude, where's my car? and it's totally invisible to you because that wasn't in your expectation. So in many ways, we also Photoshop in, especially in our peripheral vision. The brain photoshops in what we expect to see based on experience, because that's how our ancestors survived about 50,000 years ago when the brain was developing, was scanning around looking for danger, and anything that remotely reminded them of danger, then the brain would automatically look for pattern recognition, and then the lion, who's not even there, becomes more important than things that really are there, because you only have to forget the lion once to be in pretty big trouble. Well, we evolved to the same brain. So, maybe we may think we're paying attention, but we're often not. So once we learn to pay attention, then we can start putting more attention maybe on thinking about our hopes instead of our fears. And with enough repetition, a hope can actually become a belief. Because that's how all our beliefs happen. They started off, some time they weren't a belief. They were just an observation that may or may not have been true that you then decided was what the whole world was about. Somebody betrayed me once when I was 14, and I can never forgive anybody again. Or trust. Anybody, you know what I'm talking about? What's that saying? Once burned, twice shy. How about just once burned, next time a little more careful? You can still trust, just maybe a little more careful. And when I talk about invisible forces, we have lots of experience in believing in and accepting and responding to invisible forces. Anybody here got a fob on your car chain that when you push the button, it locks your car from distance? Now, when we're walking away from the car, not even looking at it, and beep, we fully expect that car locked, right? Now, if your car beeps and you don't hear the beep, you go, did I leave the trunk open? But most of the time, we just click it and just walk away. Right now, in this room, there is depending on the time and the time zone, there's possibly a basketball game going on. There could be a hockey game going on. There are literally trillions of dollars floating through the air in here. And if you had the proper code on your computer and that money shows up, it goes through the ether, we're not surprised. If I had a television set that could tune to the right frequency of where these pictures are going and things like that, and the sound, then I could hear them, right? But my senses weren't designed for that. But they do exist, right? So we believe in these automatic things. I pointed out to my neighbor one time, well, more than once, but when they open their garage door from a distance, I point out, if you did that 250 years ago, you'd have been burned as a witch. Right? So it's not really that hard to stretch it out that there are other invisible forces that are at work for us. And so, as Holmes reminded us, most of our thoughts are unconscious. And if they're believed, our body's going to take note. And if we believe we're somehow bad, undeserving, then our body says, here, you got it. Your wish is my command, automatic response. This is your order. You want poached eggs, coffee for breakfast. Oh, yeah, and somebody to take away your self-esteem. Your wish is my command. So I ask people all the time, pay attention to your self-talk. Like right now, you're having a conversation with yourself that I can't hear. You're agreeing with me, or unfortunately, a few of you may be disagreeing with me entirely. Or you're wondering, why is he talking so fast or so much? Or he said that a couple of months ago. I don't want to hear that again. Or you may be having a memory. All kinds of things are going on. But you can agree you have conversations with yourself, right? And then there's the you that's watching you have that conversation with yourself. And then there's the you that's judging whether it's good or bad, or right? So ask yourself just this. Are your self-talk, your inner conversation, supporting your hopes, or your fears? Because a lot of times we find out it's our fears, and then but we don't investigate them whether those fears are valid, because then we're caught in the biological grip of anxiety and fear and doubt, and hoping everybody notices. And how are you? I'm fine. and don't really pay attention to how to get out of that so much as, yikes, I hope nobody sees it. Anybody ever have those experiences? Or just me, huh? Thanks. I'm having one right now. Okay, so the solution is, recognize there's something we can do about that. If you don't like what you're thinking, and you're not okay with the results of that thinking, then you better think of something else. And how many thinkers do you have in your own mind that you know about? We're the only thinkers in our own mind, so we're the ones who can choose to have a different thought. And if you do that on a consistent basis, those thoughts can become hopes, and those hopes can become beliefs. And when those beliefs become beliefs, that automatic part of the brain moves into action and life gets better. So if you're willing to do a brief closed eye exercise, I invite you all to close your eyes. And if you're worried about your purse, Rick will keep a good eye on it. In fact, he might even go through it to make sure nothing's missing. Okay, so sit quietly and think about parts of your body that you're happy about. Like, you may have criticized it, but would you rather have your legs or not? Quick answer. And those legs can get you away from anybody you don't want to hear. Not that you wouldn't want to hear this, but if that ever comes up in your life, you could actually get up and walk away. That's good. And you can paddle with legs if you have a paddle board like Mary. Or you can take a walk in the woods. You can enjoy scenery with your eyes. Arms and hands are good because you can bring food to your mouth, and that brings in other good things. And so while you're sitting there, one of the things I've learned to do when I hear an irritating or unpleasant noise, like somebody stopping beside my car and revving their Harley-Davidson engine louder than I want to hear it, or people with loud pipes, or a neighbor screaming at somebody, I remind myself the reason that bothers me is because I can hear. And that changes the whole picture, wouldn't it? If if I'm in pain somewhere, that means my body's able to tell me that if I keep walking on that, it might break. I should take a moment and examine that for a moment and see what's going on. So whatever you choose, just simply appreciate that whole experience. And if you really put your attention on it and really appreciate just how magnificent whatever parts you're appreciating are, that could be even termed love. And love invites more of whatever you're putting its attention on. In this case, it's something good. And love dissolves anything not like itself. So love can resolve your conflicts by embracing it. And so, paying more attention to what you'd love to have more of in your life clears your path and paves the way for that to show up. So, living every day in wonder and appreciating our bodies is a real practical experience. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Reverend Bruce.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So much to think about. Goodness. I'll have to listen to that again on YouTube. Let's give him another hand. Thank you so much. And now welcome back to the platform, Allendale.
Thank you, Reverend Bruce. That was brilliant. So, the body temple. This next song Rick wrote quite a while ago, and most of you know it, so feel free to sing along. This is a little different version. In the middle, we're going to add a little bit of opportunity for all of us to stand up and move our bodies. So I'm going to come over here, do a little dance. You can follow me. You could do your own thing. And this is all about positive self-talk, too. So here we go.
I told God I wanted tall, dark, and handsome, and He gave me a voice. So I'm going with that. If ever I fly, God knows why. The mind that knows all will not let me fall. When I feel blind, God's light shines through you and me.
You know, that's one of my most favorite songs. I am enough because I'm made of God's stuff. That is it right there. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Okay. It's time for our offering. If the stewards would please come forward. This is our time where we give back to the place where we receive our spiritual food. And today we had a banquet to feast on, so it is the time to give back. If you're at home, you can go to our website and donate there or mail a check into our center. All right, line up. Here we go. Line up, here we go. All right. Let us say our offering together. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply, and it symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply. I love that. I say it every day to keep the abundance flowing.
I sing the body electric. I celebrate the yet to come. I toast to my own reunion when I become one with the sun. And I'll look back on Venus. I'll look back on Mars. And I'll burn with a fire of 10 million stars. And in time, we will all be stars. I sing the body electric. I glory in the glow of rebirth, creating my own tomorrow when I shall embody the earth. And I'll serenade Venus, I'll serenade Mars, and I'll burn with the fire of 10 million stars. And in time, we will all be stars. We are the emperors now, and we are the czars. And in time, we will all be stars.
Thank you so much, Diane. That was beautiful. And thank you, Rick and Karen, for the wonderful songs that you sang this morning. So if you were in service today as a volunteer or anytime this week, would you please stand so that we can acknowledge you? Thank you so much. It takes a village. And part of those people are the practitioners, and these people are trained in the art and the science of spiritual mind treatment, or what we call affirmative prayer. And the ones this morning available to you are Lori Ann Whitty and Mary Casa and, just a minute, and Paula Manis. So these three people are available to you if you're experiencing a bump in the road, whether it be with the physical body or the mind or the heart. You can go visit one of these people over at these two tables or one in the Tranquility Room, and they can do a spiritual mind treatment, an affirmative prayer for you, which sees through the forest to the tree, to the exact thing that you need to hear in this moment. They see the truth that is in you. So please avail yourselves to our practitioners. And let's see, now we have invitations. Thank you.
Okay. So you're invited to join Mary Brogdon and friends after the service at Conscious Connection. It meets right here from 12 to 12:30. So if you have any questions or comments about the Body Temple, just, join in the conversation. Everyone is welcome.
Last week, our Gourmets for God program kicked off to a great start. Gourmets for God is our fundraiser in which members of our spiritual family volunteer to host a social event where food is lovingly prepared and served. And each one of us has an opportunity to bid for a seat at the table of whatever host home we choose. We also have the opportunity to buy a seat outright for the listed price. The events are happening between July and September, so there's plenty of opportunity for you to participate. The sign-up sheets are located at the back of the sanctuary. See Barbara Lindquist if you have any questions or if you are interested in being a host.
Okay, Mary's Book Club. Who's involved in that? All right. Well, they have a new book for this month. It is Ordinary Wonder. So they are available in the bookstore. So if you're part of that group, go purchase your book.
We have newly enrolled in a church management software system named Breeze. With this program, you'll be able to log on to our dedicated Breeze site to make your contributions, check your current giving, or set up recurring credit card payments. It will also allow you to contribute via text. Our plan is to have it ready for your use by the beginning of July. Look out.
Sounds like good news for the bookkeeper, too. So besides Book Club with Mary, we have so many other things happening here at the center. We have invitations available for you to pick up outside in the lobby. So grab that and you'll see what's going on here at the center. And now, as we're going to release some of this old negative thoughts about our bodies by singing, I Release.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
And as we close the service, I invite everyone to pay attention to ways in which you can really appreciate your own body for your own good. So it is.